Rose Namajunas is a special fighter. Her ticket to the Hall of Fame is already stamped. We may not have been able to tell that when we first saw her back in 2014 when she got choked by Carla Esparza, but over the years, she's been nothing short of spectacular, man. Thug Rose has given us some of the most memorable moments in the UFC. The one-punch destruction of Joanna and then defeating her in the rematch, getting slammed on her neck by Andrade and then coming back and beating her, smoking Wei Lee for the title with a beautiful head kick and then grinding out that impressive win in the rematch. Legendary moments. But then, for reasons we may never understand, we get the worst fight of all time, man. And look, that may be an exaggeration, but that fight that she had against Carla Esparza when she lost the title was just incredibly boring. And when Rose threw her hands up at the end, I just remember kind of being in shock, like, what an awful fight. But hey, man, what are you going to do? Sometimes it is what it is, right? Every fight can't be awesome. Let's not forget about Izzy versus Romero. I mean, sometimes it just happens. But now we see her move up to 125, and she fights Manon Fiorot. And I was a little surprised at this one because not only is Rose not the biggest woman down at 115, but Fiorot is about as physically strong as you can get for the division. And Rose, she just doesn't seem to have that type of frame. So not only she is moving up always tough, but man, now she's got to move up, and she's got to move up against an absolute beast, right? Not only but in name, but also in action inside that octagon. And Fiorot may not have that big brand name appeal like Rose. She's not a former champion, and she does not have maybe not even as polished of a fighter or as well-rounded of a fighter, but they've got weight classes for a reason. And when you saw these two women in the cage tonight, you could instantly see that they belonged in different weight classes. And for what it's worth, Fiorot going into this fight had consistently said, she is not big enough. She's too small. She doesn't belong in this division. And as much as I like Rose, I got to be honest. In my opinion, she lost in every aspect of this fight tonight. On the outside, she's trying to get things going in the distance. She's trying to get her feints going like we normally see. But every time she tries stepping in, she's got to contend with this check right hook that she's getting from Manon. Like, man, she was firing it off almost every time Rose was trying to mount her offense. She's just coming in, and it's just disrupting everything she's doing. Early on in the fight, we saw it play out here beautifully, right? Rose tries to come in and step behind this jab, and Fiorot just connects with a solid right hook here, right? And sends Rose stumbling a little bit, and from that point on, it prevented. Every time Rose tried to get things going, every time she tried to get them offense mounted, every time she tried to get combinations flowing, that was right there breaking everything up. It was a beautiful right hook that Fiorot was mounting tonight. On top of that, she had the longer reach. She was dominating the action at range with long straight punches. She's firing off a lot of 1-2s, a lot of 1-2-1s, and they didn't always land. Sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't. But Rose was never really able to counter. She wasn't able to get things going. Now look, don't get me wrong here. We all know how talented of a fighter Rose is. She was able to see some success. She was able to see some shots here and there, but she was outstruck. And on top of that, the punches that she was landing never really seemed to do any damage. She was definitely not the physically stronger person out there. She was definitely not landing the more impactful shots. So what's that mean? We saw her try to go to the wrestling as well. And guess what? That didn't go too well for her either. She got 2 good attempts in the first round. First one, she tries to disguise her entry beautifully with this left hand, tries to come in, get low, tries to get a trip. And she looks smooth, but Fiorot just avoided it with ease. And a little while later in the round, Rose tries to get in on another attempt. Again, she looked like it was a good entry, and she just wasn't able to do anything with it. And at the end of the day, look, if we're being perfectly honest with each other, I do not see Rose Namajunas being able to dominate or win a belt at 125 pounds. I just can't see her being able to put together a consistent string of wins against the top women in this division. Like, she's a talented fighter. She's put together these legendary moments in her career. That hasn't changed. And let's not forget for a minute that she still got wins over the current champ at 115 pounds, Zhang Wei Li. But I don't see how at 125 pounds, when we're talking about Alexa Grasso, Valentina Shevchenko, Caitlin Chookagian, Jennifer Maia, right? We just saw what happened tonight against Manon Fiorot. Like, how is Rose going to be able to consistently go out here and beat these women and put together a string of wins up to the title shot, get the title, and then defend? Look, it was worth it. Rose has done so much in her career. We know what she means to the UFC. We know that the UFC definitely gives her preferential treatment. She was able to get this fight against a highly ranked opponent. If she would have been able to go out here and get the win tonight, there's a very real possibility that we'd be talking about her getting the winner of Shevchenko versus Grasso. Now, obviously, that goes up in smoke. That's not something that we're even considering. We're talking about Fiora as the winner. But that's the type of fighter that Rose is. If she would have been able to go in here and do this, we'd be talking about that. Instead, she went in here and, in my opinion, proved that she doesn't belong at 125 pounds. I'm interested to see if she's going to go back to 115. If she does, where she's going to be in that mix. Does she was talking about how in the run up to this fight that she was considering retirement. Does that mean that 115 isn't going to be an option? A lot of people say a lot of things, particularly after a fight, but I'm really interested in seeing what's actually going to happen 2, 3, 4, 5 months from now. Where does she go when the emotions settle down, when the smoke clears, when she comes back from the loss that she took here, and we see what's next? Because she's still young, she's still an incredibly talented fighter. She can still go out there and do whatever it is that she wants to do. And when she's at 115 pounds, she's proven that she's able to compete amongst the best in the world and dominate in the division. At 125, I just don't see it going down that way. And as far as Manny Fiore, like, if you're her, how could you accept anything less than a title shot for your next one? You're already ranked as high as you are. You've already got wins over Jennifer Maia, Katlyn Chookagian. You've gone over here. You've dominated a former champ who attempted to move up in Rose Namajunas. Your path couldn't be more clear. The sky couldn't be more bright. I know that all she wants to think about is getting that belt wrapped around her waist. So let me know what you guys think. What do you think Rose's future is going to be? And how do you think Fiora is going to match up? And who is she going to be matching up against? Let me know.